ADR. Promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar, 1 p.m. in Lagos. Good afternoon and welcome to Newslink and West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world at wadr.org. First, our major stories. Nigerian Transitional President Tiani blames external forces for Niamey Airport incident.
Dori Hamani International Airport was the target of an attempted infiltration by remotely controlled mercenaries.
Accra holds a regional conference on peace and security amid shifting global terrorism index. And Anesthesia providers in Liberia begins nationwide strike over unpaid salary increments.
The government, through its Ministry of Health and CSA, have been playing game with our salary betterment. So with all these anesthesia of very trained surgeons, they are just mad that we are also here to seek public attention.
And Benin's Anti-Corruption Commission engages civil society groups in the fight against corruption. Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
On the news, this is Sankulu to Real Jungle.
Many thanks for joining us. In Niger, authorities say a mercenary attack was behind the exchange of gunfire at Niamey International Airport. Nigeria's transitional leader, General Abdurrahman Tiani, has accused France, Benin and Cote d'Ivoire of involvement. Abdullah Hassan has more.
A day after gunshots were heard at Niamey's Diori Haman International Airport, the Nigerian transitional president, General Abdurrahman Tiani, says the incident was a mercenary attack. Without providing details on the number or nationality of those involved, he said the attackers were repelled by Nigerian forces with support from Russian troops stationed in the country. General Tiani added that the response lasted about 20 minutes and forced the assailants to retreat. He accused France, Benin and Cote d'Ivoire of being behind the attack.
Dori Hamani International Airport was the target of an attempted infiltration by remotely controlled mercenaries. Some were neutralized on the spot, while others were taken out as they panicked. We remind the sponsors of these mercenaries, namely Emmanuel Macron, Patrice Talon and Alassane Ouattara. They too are about to hear us roar.
This is not the first time Nigerian authorities have accused these countries of attempt to destabilize the nation.
Abdullah Hassan filed that report. In neighboring Burkina Faso, all political parties and groups have been dissolved following a decision taken during the Council of Ministers meeting. The government also approved a bill repealing the legal framework governing political parties. Authorities say the move is part of a broader reform of the country's political governance. Christopher Atichu tells us more.
Political parties and formations in Burkina Faso, suspended since Captain Ibrahim Traoré came to power, have now been officially dissolved. The decision was announced during the Council of Ministers on Thursday, January 29. The government has approved a bill repealing laws governing the operation of political parties and the status of opposition leaders. Before the dissolution, Burkina Faso had more than 400 political parties, a number the government says led to divisions among citizens. Authorities say the move aims to preserve national cohesion, strengthen government action, and pave the way for a reform of the country's political governance.
A report by Martin Kaba in Ouagadougou and presented by Christopher Atichu. In Nigeria, the Senate chamber met behind closed doors on Thursday to consider changes to the Electoral Act 2022, renewing debate over the legislature's role in strengthening democracy. The proposed Electoral Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2026 was presented by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Electoral Matters, Senator Simon Lalong. As deliberations continue, legal experts and members of the public are also weighing in on the proposed changes. WDR's Abuja correspondent Yeche Nusasetu reports.
Thursday's closed session was convened to allow the lawmakers to study the proposed amendments and supporting documents before resuming debate on the bill. Although the House of Representatives has already passed the bill, Senate President Godswill Akpabio has insisted on thorough scrutiny by the upper chamber for a credible electoral process. Lawyer and political analyst Redzi Jugo speaks on the importance of electoral reforms.
This largely is done after a
sober reflection by the citizenry through their legislative representatives, and it is to foster a new electoral and legal regime for how elections are conducted in Nigeria as of today.
A clause-by-clause analysis by the Senate Committee on Electoral Matters indicates that the proposed legislation would enhance electoral integrity, improve transparency, and strengthen public confidence in elections.
The answer is no. I feel like there is a huge apathy and distrust between the government and the people.
They could speak all the big English they want to speak, but I do not believe they have our interest at heart, truly.
If the Electoral Act, the components that need to be amended or reformed, will not serve the interest of these politicians, I trust that they would not do it. They would find a way around it.
So I'm optimistic that this whole thing will work in the interest of citizens at the end of the day.
And I feel like citizens deserve a process that is transparent, fair, and accountable.
Analyst Redzi Jugo reacts to public trust.
I am hoping that this time, when the amendment is done, they will need to really go out to town and convince the citizenry that this time it is going to be one man, one vote.
As the Senate's consideration of the bill continues, attention remains on whether the proposed reforms will translate into credible elections that reflect the will of the people. Nigeria is set to hold general elections in 2027. For WADR, Yechini Sasitu in Abuja.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Ghana is hosting a two-day high-level consultative conference today on regional cooperation and security in West Africa. The meeting will focus on collective responses to growing security challenges in the sub-region. On day one of the conference, security chiefs from Mali, Burkina Faso, Liberia and Nigeria warned that the global epicenter of terrorism is shifting from the Middle East to Africa. Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Ablakwa said on average 44 people are killed daily in terrorist attacks across West Africa, with about 8 attacks recorded each day. From Accra, Nadia Ditete reports.
The conference aims to preempt, strategically confront and curb insecurity in the sub-region. Speaking on the first day of the conference, Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Ablakwa, between 47 and nearly 60% of global terrorism incidents now occur on the African continent, describing the trend as a grim reality confronting regional security. The minister urged West African leaders to adopt coordinated and strategic measures to combat terrorism.
The grave statistics continue that over the last 15 years, our region has seen an increase by 1,266% in terror attacks. And the death toll has also gone up by a staggering 2,860%. It's a daily grim reality, and we cannot turn a blind eye because we are all at risk.
On the spot, the Minister for Interior and National Security, Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak, stressed that security responses must go beyond a narrow military and intelligence approach.
This high-level consultative conference, convened under the visionary leadership of His Excellency, the President of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is precisely designed for this purpose. The conference seeks to move the sub-region and Africa as a whole beyond episodic diplomacy.
He called for stronger regional collaboration to stamp out insecurity, saying fragmented efforts are failing to deliver results. The meeting will culminate in a summit of heads of state and government from across West Africa on Friday, January 30, 2026, with President of Sierra Leone and Chairman of the ECOWAS Authority, Julius Maada Bio, also attending. For WADR, Nadia Tete, Accra.
Meanwhile, the African Union Commission is relaunching diplomatic dialogue with the Alliance of Sahel States AES in a bid to strengthen engagement between the continental body and the 3 member states. On Thursday, the African Union's new High Representative for Mali and the Sahel, Mamadou Tangara, held discussions with Mali's Transitional President General Assimi Goïta in Bamako. The meeting formed part of a mission aimed at consolidating dialogue and rebuilding channels of cooperation between the AU and the AES bloc. Imoeda tells us more.
Discussions between the AU envoy and Malian authorities focus particularly on the evolution of the Confederation of Sahel States, which includes Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. It's also centered around the planned tour of the AU chairperson, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, to several Sahelian countries aimed at assessing the security situation. The Malian authorities reaffirmed their willingness to continue discussions with African partners as the security and stability of the Sahel remain among the continent's major priorities. Mr. Tangara's visit comes at a time marked by political efforts undertaken by the African Union to resume dialogue with the AES states, which were suspended from the organization's decision-making bodies following the political changes that occurred between 2020 and 2021. Despite this suspension, consultation mechanisms are maintained through the AU Special Representatives, including Ms. Sahel, which is responsible for supporting stabilization initiatives in the region. At the end of Thursday's meeting, the AU Commission High Representative expressed his willingness to work with the governments of Mali and the Sahelian countries to establish a cooperation framework tailored to regional security challenges.
More added with that report. Well, still in Mali, the Digital Week opened on Thursday at the Bamako International Conference Center. Now, in its third edition, the event brings together Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso under the theme of e-government in the age of artificial intelligence, with a focus on culture. Over 3 days, the policymakers and experts are discussing digital sovereignty and modernization of public services. Francis Boniface has more in the following report.
At the center of discussions was the modernization of public administration through digital technology and artificial intelligence, as Malian authorities seek to accelerate the digitalization of government services. Alhamdou Ash-Ien is Mali's Minister of Communication.
I call on the government to accelerate the modernization of public administration and the digitalization of public services so that every Malian can access essential services more easily, more quickly, and more efficiently. E-governance must deliver tangible results, shorter queues, simplified procedures, improved traceability and transparency, stronger action against fraud, and better quality of public service delivery.
Held under the theme E-Government in the Age of Artificial Intelligence, Opportunities and Challenges for Culture, the meeting also aims to promote cultural heritage and strengthen the use of national languages.
I welcomed the emphasis placed on culture and artistic creation in this edition. Digital tools can help promote our heritage, disseminate our works, and showcase our talents. But there is also a need to protect rights, fight counterfeiting, and build economic models that fairly compensate creators.
The event also featured participants from Niger and Burkina Faso. The 3 countries of the Confederation of Sahel States say they want to deepen cooperation to build a sovereign digital space. The Digital Week runs until Saturday, featuring panel discussions and exchanges among sector stakeholders.
A report by WDR's Aliou Cham in Bamako and voiced by Francis Boniface. In Liberia, an ongoing dispute over fair pay for anesthesia providers reached a critical point on Thursday after they suspended services. The decision by these professionals who manage pain and ensure safe medical procedures, especially surgeries, was declared during a protest in Monrovia. Guarded at the headquarters of the Ministry of Health, the anesthetists held placards denouncing the unfair treatment and unfulfilled promises by the government. WDR's Abraham Parker has the details.
The group, made out of anesthesia providers from referral hospitals across the country, has suspended services nationwide. President of the Liberia Association of Nurse Anesthetists, Nain Dolo, said the group's association followed the government's failure to address long-standing concerns over salary improvements, which have been ongoing since 2024.
The government, through its Ministry of Health and CSA, have been playing game with our salary betterment. The people you see here, they are very few in Liberia. So with all these, and I said, of very trained surgeons, they are just mere doctors. To get all here, they have been a very long and rocky journey. We are also here to seek public attention. Those in the Ministry of Health are making it to look like a secret. They are making it to look like a political game. They keep covering up.
Another member, Wadr said, anesthesia providers play a crucial role in Liberia's health system, but receive little recognition from the authorities.
Like for me, I'm from Babulu County. The only referral hospital in Babulu is the Embry Hospital where I work. I have only an assistant there. And with my services being rendered to them, every time we pursue our care of getting betterment, and we are not getting what we want. For the Liberian people to know the constraint that we are going through, the ministry is now selling us out there.
The umbrella union for almost 100 of anestheticists is calling on citizens to pressure the Minister of Health and push for their recognitions. The action comes amid the growing unrest among health workers, with nurses in central Liberia recently protesting salary delays and unfair labor practices. With the Ministry of Health yet to respond, concerns are growing for the strike's impact on patient care and the urgent need for resolution. For Newslink on WADR, Abraham Parker, Monrovia.
You're listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, 94.9 FM and online at wadr.org. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Nigerian Transitional President Chiani blames external forces for Niamey Airport incident. Accra holds a regional conference on peace and security amid shifting global terrorism index. And as aesthetic providers in Liberia began nationwide over unpaid salary increments. And Benin's Anti-Corruption Commission engages civil society groups in the fight against corruption. Still ahead in the news, we have guest interview and sports news. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
In Benin, the High Commission for the Prevention of Corruption, HCPC, has mobilized key civil society organizations engaged in the fight against corruption in the country. This gesture is part of efforts to strengthen public governance and promote a culture of integrity. As Augustine Colley reports, the initiative aims to unite efforts against this scourge to achieve tangible results.
Since becoming operational in 2024, the High Commission for the Prevention of Corruption, HCPC, has launched multiple national campaigns to raise awareness about the dangers of corruption. The organization now aims to strengthen collaboration with civil society, a key partner in preventing and reporting corruption, to enhance its fight against graft. A recent meeting with civil society organizations was held to build a lasting and structured partnership. The discussions also focused on the current challenges, priorities, and strategies in the fight against corruption in Benin.
As is Adam Sully's report from Cotonou, voiced by Augustine Colley. Now, the Gambia government has launched the second phase of its border management reform program aimed at improving accountability and strengthening institutions. Supported by Switzerland and implemented in partnership with the Geneva Center for Security Sector Governance, the program focuses on people-centered and human rights-based approach to border security. WDR's Banjul correspondent Sang Donald Mendy reports.
The initiative seeks to improve accountability and service delivery while fostering cooperation between security agencies and communities along the borders. Deputy Director of Immigration Hule Jallo, representing the Director General, said the project is a key step in advancing broader border management reforms.
The launch of Phase 2 signifies an important transition from reform design and policy development to consolidation, institutionalization, and sustainable behavioral change. The next phase will support the Gambia Immigration Department in embedding reforms into everyday practice.
Switzerland's ambassador to the Gambia, Petro Moina, emphasized that his country's support aims to strengthen institutions and promote good governance, noting that security services must effectively serve the people.
In recent years, the Gambia has demonstrated its commitment to this path through ongoing efforts to reform and modernize its security sector with the goal of building a safer, more stable future for its people. Security forms the foundation of stability and sustainable development in any society.
The border management reform program also promotes people-centered, human rights-based border governance and service delivery within the immigration sector. Recently, the Gambia Immigration Department inaugurated 3 newly constructed state-of-the-art immigration border posts to tighten border management. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, I am Sangdona Mendy, reporting from Banjul.
politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
The guest interview segment this afternoon focuses on Niger, where authorities say a mercenary attack was behind the exchange of gunfire at Niamey International Airport. Well, Niger's transitional leader, General Abdurrahman Tiani, has accused France, Benin, and Côte d'Ivoire of involvement. The offices of the President of France, Benin, Côte d'Ivoire have not officially responded to the accusations. Well, to unpack the credibility of the claims, including a regional fallout and escalating risk, we are joined by Alhaji Sam Shayon, a security expert within an analysis.
Niger have been having a security situation since the military took over and the withdrawal of the Americans and the French and all of those troops. The place has been very, very unstable and the security risks have been very high. These groups that are allegedly involved in this thing, I would say these are the ISIS Al-Qaeda link group that are operating within the Sahel region nations. And these guys are operating close to the border with Burkina Faso and Mali. These are jihadists. This is nowhere connected to the Americans or the French or Côte d'Ivoire. These are citizens of Niger that are embedded within the Al-Qaeda jihadist operations. So there's no way you can link that with Côte d'Ivoire, France, or any other country. This is clearly an internal operation done by these terrorist groups that are operating in the region. You know, we work in the region for the past several years, and we label this group as a terrorist organization. Our international counterparts, the French, the Americans, and all of the European nations. That's why the French were stationed there. Even the president of the French and their operational capacity did not allow these guys to come as far as they are. But in Nigeria, the government in Miami, they basically have trusted the Wagner Russian groups, believing that the Wagner Russian group would provide security.
What impact could these accusations have on Niger's already strained relations with its neighbors, including these countries that Niger's transitional president is accusing?
It will further isolate Niger than ever before. If you see what we heard from Niger happening on Wednesday, almost different aircrafts that were flying to Niger, that were flying their international airspace. Trust me, this aircraft will evaluate the security situation. Nobody wants to fly aircraft in Niger right now, knowing that the country is fragile. At any moment, at any point in time, there can be gunfire, that can be attempted by the jihadi or beside the jihadi themselves. Even people within the Niger military are cooperating with people outside. So these are serious threats in Niger right now. Accusation against this country will not do Niger a favor. It will never reduce the security threat. It will further exacerbate the already fragile security situation in Niamey.
With the military leader in Niger, Tiani, vowing retaliation, how real is the risk of further military or proxy escalation in the region, and who stands to benefit most from rising tensions?
Well, Niger's threat of retaliation is a bluff. Niger already handles filled with their own security military situation that they cannot control. They don't have the military capacity, they don't have the ability, they don't have the willpower to go for any of these country needs. President Tihani needs to realize that his military is already confronted from various fronts. Even the military base that was being used by the Americans, that military base was the bigger military base that was infiltrated. So let it know that by threatening other countries will not solve the Niger security situation. They should be focused. All of these accusations will find evidence. Accusing other countries of involvement in the threat in your country is not the solution.
With no evidence yet to be presented by the Nigerian government, what do you think would be the reaction of the presidents accused, President Macron, President Ouattara, and President Patrice Talon?
These heretics are not going to waste their time responding to Niger or taking Niger threat seriously. They know that Niger is already filled with different security situations, particularly the fragile military situation in the country. When you have this kind of military government in Niger that are arresting people, prosecuting people, killing people because of suspicions of believing that they want to overthrow President Abdurrahman Tiani, it further exacerbates the problem with our neighbors.
Well, Alhaji Sam Shayon is a security expert. Well, in sports, Portugal and Nigeria are set to renew their international rivalry as plans are underway for a high-profile friendly match ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The proposed international fixture is expected to take place on Saturday, June 6 in Lisbon, Portugal, as part of the Seleção's build-up to the World Cup. Football authorities in both countries have reached an agreement in principle, with the final details of the encounter to be concluded in the coming weeks. Despite failing to secure qualification for the 2026 World Cup, Nigeria's Super Eagles remain an attractive opponent on the global stage following their impressive showing at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. In Europe, the draw for the playoff round in this year's season's Champions League took place this morning in Lyon, France. The teams that finished between 9th and 24th in the league phase learned their opponents for the next knockout round. The fixtures are as follows. Atalanta of Italy will take on Borussia Dortmund of Germany. Bayern Leverkusen will entertain Olympiacos. Juventus will take on Galatasaray of Turkey. And Spanish giants Atletico Madrid will entertain Club Brugge. PSG will take on Monaco in an all-French affair. Newcastle United of the English Premier League will entertain Qarabağ, and Real Madrid will renew the entertaining dramatic Champions League match as they take on Benfica again for the playoffs. And finally, Inter Milan will take on Bodo Glimt in the playoff round. A win in the playoffs will see teams advance to the last 16 of the competition, where the teams who finish in the top 8 of the league phase will re-enter. We've come to the end of this edition of Newslink in West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal, 94.9 FM here at wadr.org. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Mustafa Sek and Maudu Juve for the technical assistance. Do interact with us via our social media platforms, X and Instagram and Facebook at WADR English. I am Sankule Janko. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.